Hello and welcome to week 3 of Big Rican's Buckeye PreGame Live. Today is Saturday, the 7th of November. We are to the time of year that Urban Meyer said we'll show you who the champions are. And although this year we go all the way to the 12th of December in the Big Ten, this is when it starts. So tonight we're going to get into a little bit of a recap of last week's big win in Happy Valley against Penn State, and then break down a little bit of tonight's game against the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers and their new head coach, their former head coach, who's their new head coach, and former defensive coordinator at Ohio State, Greg Schiano. So let's go back a week to last Saturday and to what was supposed to be the whiteout at Penn State. Look, when you take the first play of the game 66 yards on an end around to your sophomore wide receiver, you know it's going to be a big night. But you got to take your hat off to Penn State. They hung in there for a while. Ohio State pulled away toward the end, winning by 13 points. Largest margin of victory in Happy Valley I can remember for a while. So big win last week, but let's talk about the guys who really put them on the map last week. And I'm going to start in the trenches because it was better plays from both lines that really made Ohio State's win last week a statement win. As I said in last week's episode, I really felt the line of scrimmage was not won by Ohio State for the majority of their game against Nebraska. Last week was an entirely different animal. On the defensive side of the ball, Tommy Togiai, the defensive tackle, has been an absolute revelation so far. Couple of sacks. He had one against Nebraska. He's playing really well in the middle of that defensive line. We saw more from Jonathan Cooper last week. Not so much on the quarterback pressure because they got more pressure up the middle than they did from the edge. But Cooper was really good in the run game and hitting Freiermuth, the tight end, coming off the line. One turnover in the game, that was an interception by Malik Hooker's younger brother, who plays in the Ohio State secondary just like his older brother did. On the offensive side of the ball, the running game got going a little bit with Trey Sermon and Master Teague. Justin Fields was not hit that much, although he took some shot right toward the end of the game. So all in all, Happy Valley showed me a couple of things. One is that I think Ohio State may have the most talented wide receiver, top two, in the country in Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Both guys played amazing last week and the week before. If you look at the year-long stats, Garrett Wilson's caught 18 balls for 240 yards and a touchdown. Chris Olave has batted over 100 yards in both the first two games as well, and a touchdown. Justin Fields has been, I knew he was good. I did not know he was going to be this good. Fields is 48 of 55 for 594 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2 games. This is quarterback play at Ohio State that I have never seen. And I've been through, I'm going to throw some names to everybody here. Joe Germain, Bobby Hoying, Stanley Jackson, to Terrell Pryor and Braxton and JT and Dwayne Haskins and now Justin Fields, to name the bigger names. He is doing things I never thought I'd see out of an Ohio State quarterback. He has been absolutely phenomenal. His precision and his preparation, I think, are what makes me, what impresses me the most out of anything he does. He's still very mobile, still very strong, can get a first down when he needs to with his legs, but overall, this guy is throwing the ball. Then a couple of fourth down plays in the red zone where he threw touchdown passes because he sold it to that what he was going to run. Both went to tight ends. And it put the game on ice. I mean, you can't really ask for more than that. So we get into week 3 and it's Rutgers. And now, 3 years ago for this game, I was at Rutgers. I had this hat on. I was literally sitting on the first row on the Rutgers sideline, right by the tunnel where the players came in. My buddy Nick, who I have mentioned on the podcast, and if anybody's followed us from the beginning, I did a live show from Ohio State when we went to see them play Tulane a couple years ago. He was sitting right next to me, and I got to tell you, we had a blast that night. But this is a different Rutgers team. This is a Rutgers team that beat Michigan State in week 1. This is a Rutgers team who is playing better defense than they have in the past. Their offense still has some issues. They've given up 32 points a game, and they've only scored 29. So that's 29 and a half. So that's not going to bode well for a team playing against an Ohio State team that has averaged in their first 2 games 45 points. They scored 90 points in 2 games. This offense is something to be reckoned with. Look for them, in my opinion, first of all, I'll say it again, win the line of scrimmage. Play well, protect fields, get the running game going early. The play action, the end arounds, the jet sweeps to the wide receivers. This is how Ohio State can make their offense more than one-dimensional. I think they've gotten a little one-dimensional throwing the ball the first 2 weeks. They were blowouts, so you saw higher rushing totals and about equal passing totals. But the issue I have with it is not consistent. Week 1 against Nebraska, it wasn't very good at all. Week 2, it had its moments. When Ohio State gets going, whether it's Ryan Day or Urban Meyer, they are running the football, and the passing game goes off of that. So look for Day to try and get the running game going early tonight against a Rutgers team that was pretty stout against the run the first 2 weeks. Even though they lost pretty decently to Indiana, they did play the run well against Michigan State. On the defensive side of the ball, here's what I think Ohio State needs to do. They need to continue with their pressure up the middle from Togiai and Amir Garrett. Not Amir Garrett. That's the pitcher for Cincinnati. Oh, who was that player? He was big last week. He's a heck of a story, too. He actually he was shot over the summer in the face. The bullet went through his cheek and out the other. Haskell Garrett. Sorry, I looked it up real quick. Haskell Garrett has been great disrupting both the run and the pass game in the first 2 games. So the interior of the defensive line has played very, very well. It's those end spots that I've had a little issue with. Again, I could be asking too much because we're coming off of Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young. So I think they need to get some pressure from the edge tonight in order to continue to play very good defense. As far as the rest of the defensive scheme goes, the linebackers were amazing last week. Pete Werner and Tuff Borland and Barrett Browning were off the charts good last week. Penn State really didn't get anything going on the ground for most of the night, and their big offensive plays were in the passing game, but they were phenomenal plays by their number 1 wide receiver. Sean Wade got burned a couple of times last week, but I'll tell you what, Kerry Coombs said it. I just went to the league where we got the best corners in the world, and these guys are burning them there. It happens. It's going to happen. So, got to be able to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think they need to get the running game going, and I think they need to stop the running game of Rutgers to do well on defense. The Rutgers quarterback has had some turnover issues in the first 2 games. That's going to be another big one. Can Ohio State force the turnovers to keep their offense on the field? I mean, somebody's got to know something because right now Ohio State is a 39-point favorite to beat Rutgers tonight. Now, not for nothing, over the last several years, it was 3 games in a row Rutgers didn't score. Not lost, did not score, including the game I went to in 2017. But this is a different Rutgers team. This is a Greg Schiano-led Rutgers team, and Schiano, listen, he would have been a great head coach down in Tennessee. And they did some backhanded stuff to get him out of there. Schiano proved himself at Rutgers the first time, and that vaulted him to a job in the NFL. I think he brings a defensive toughness to the team and a toughness overall because that's the kind of guy he is. He's a great coach. He is a great tactician in game. Does he have all the pieces to run the kind of defense he wants to? Probably not. But it's his first year back. And if we're going to let guys like Harbaugh get judged after he gets a recruiting class in there, we certainly should let Greg Schiano do that. Sidebar. Wolverines lost again. This time to Indiana. It has gotten to the point where now Indiana, who we see in 2 weeks at the Horseshoe, is now going to be the toughest test for this Ohio State team moving forward. Second thing, Penn State is losing again. I am shocked at this. Maryland, first of all, Tua's brother. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. Tua's brother has been playing outstanding. Maryland has been better than advertised. Look, more power to him. But right now, Ohio State, as far as resume goes, the resume maker is going to be Indiana. Because now Michigan is 1-2. And Nebraska lost to Northwestern today. Penn State's probably going to lose to Maryland. So now we got to see what's the resume maker. Is this going to hurt our chances of getting in the playoff? There's going to be a quick one tonight just because it's it's just a pregame show. I don't dive in. We'll dive in big for the game on December the 12th. So my prediction tonight, I don't think the Buckeyes will cover the spread of 39 points. I think they will win big. This is going to be 2-3 scored win for this team. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say 39-10. They win this game. Look for Fields to have a big night throwing the ball. I think we got better talent on the outside than Rutgers has corners. Look for the defense to have their way with the offensive line of Rutgers, hopefully a little bit, especially up the middle with Haskell Garrett and Tommy Togiai. So this week, I will be on the Cleveland Me podcast on Friday with Joe, Tone's brother, who was on last night. And next weekend, we got a full boat with Saturday with Buckeye pregame, and Sunday we have Browns pregame. As always, Big Rican can be found here on both Facebook and YouTube, on Twitter at Big Rican on Sport, on Google, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and as a proud member of the Timeskew Podcast Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. Kickoff is in an hour and 18 minutes. Go Bucks, and I will see you guys next week. I will see you guys next week, and we'll probably have something up else during the week. Take care, guys. OH.